Welcome back to Julie's Village. I'm glad you're here. In today's episode, we're going to talk about visual schedules. Visual schedules are a great tool to use for a variety of situations. They can be so helpful if you have a child who struggles with anxiety, or they can be used to help reduce power struggles. They can be set up in a specific way to help with that. They are also a great tool to use if you're just trying to increase independence for your child. Whatever reason you're using it for, the first thing you want to do is figure out what kind of visual schedule your child needs. They can range from pictures all the way to just written lists or symbols that your child recognizes and can use to know exactly what task they need to complete. The first thing to determine what kind of schedule that you should use is just knowing where your child's ability levels are at. If they struggle with any kind of cognitive abilities, or if there is a communication gap, you don't have any kind of communication system set up yet, or you're just barely starting to introduce a communication system, you might consider using a picture schedule that includes pictures of them doing whatever it is that you want to include in this schedule. This helps them to see concretely, I want you to do what I'm showing you to do, or you will be doing whatever it is that I'm showing you will be doing. From there, you might just use cartoon type pictures or pictures of other people doing whatever it is that you want to include in this schedule. Or again, it could include just written words. If your child is reading and they clearly communicate, they just need something to help them keep track of the day, then a written schedule is just fine. Sometimes I hear from teachers that the child knows the schedule and so they don't really need any kind of visual schedule. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes, if it is just to help them keep track of what is going on in the day, they can just use the classroom schedule. Sometimes in the home or even within the classroom, they might need an individual schedule. This will help them to feel like they have a little bit more control of their day, that they can see that things are planned and happening for a reason, not that they're just happening to them. You can set up a visual schedule in a way that allows you to make changes. You can establish some ground rules with the child or some procedures to let them know what is it going to look like if things need to change. You can also include just like a question mark in the schedule to show that you don't really know what is going to happen at that time of day, but you'll figure it out when you get there. Or you could put choice, meaning, I don't know what's going to happen here because this is where you get to choose. That can be really powerful if you are using the visual schedule because there are power struggles happening. You can let your child know what part of the day, yeah, you've got some choice here. And what part of the day is like, no, these are just things that have to happen. In setting up picture schedules or visual schedules or whatever it is that you're using, you will also need to consider what type is most effective for your child. Can they just have it on a piece of paper, or is this something that they need to be able to manipulate? One way that I used to set it up frequently for students was to just have a long strip of Velcro taped to just a piece of cardboard or the inside of a file folder or just a strip of construction paper that I could hang on the wall. Whatever works best for you in your situation. Then I would take the pictures and I would put the opposite type of Velcro on the back of the pictures. So I could arrange the schedule on whatever I used to be able to be moved around and manipulated. The child could come and take off each picture as they completed the task or each word as they completed the task. Some students we did a matching system with. So on the strip, their visual schedule, it would show a picture. And then at the location where they needed to complete that task was another picture so that they could go and match. And then they would know they were in the right place and they could get started on the activity. That really helped with fostering independence with some students. Some students just need a check-off list, especially if you're using the schedule because they have anxiety and just need to know what's coming, and then the checklist is great. Some important tips to include are make sure that your visual schedules also show desired things, not just work tasks or things that they don't want to do, but also help them to know when in their day they can look forward to things that they want. Maybe earned things or maybe just routine parts of the day that they really enjoy, especially for students with anxiety. It's very, very helpful to let them know specifically on the schedule when they get to go home or be done or whatever it is that they are feeling anxious about. I found that visual schedules were especially helpful. That very first day of kindergarten, there were always a few students that were out in the hall that were just did not want to go to class. And any opportunity that I had to step in, I found that without exception, this did help to calm down with, again, any students that I individually interacted with. If I could show them what they were going to do at school that day and then when they could go home. So that took out some of the unknown that they were feeling anxious about and also let them know when relief was coming. When do I get to be done? When do I get to be back in my safe place where I feel comfortable? You can also use technology to help you set up visual schedules. There are apps out there that are just scheduling apps. You can also use some apps that often just come on phones, like a calendar app can help. I found one that I've never used before, but just looking at the description and reading about it, it looks like it could be a very helpful app. It is called Kids To Do List. And that one looks like it was specifically designed to set up those picture schedules for younger children. I have a couple of examples that I also created just using my AI app, just an AI generator. So the first one is just a very simple, just a short time in the day. If you feel like there are just certain times when they need a picture schedule that could be helpful. So this one that I created, I just gave it 4 tasks. Let's say that the child's going to clean their room and then we'll eat lunch. Then after that, we'll do the dishes and that's when we get to go to the park. So again, it includes something that maybe this child would really look forward to in going to the park. Another schedule that I created was a picture schedule, but this includes not just a section of the day. This is more along the lines of all day. I ran out of space on the page, but it could include after story bedtime. So just kind of goes through what they can expect throughout their day. Now this is set up again too where the title is big. You can minimize that so that you can use up more space on the page. Again, these could be cut into strips that could be manipulated easily. The next one that I have is more of just if there's a specific task that you want to, or a specific, again, time of day that you want to create independence with, this type of schedule might be helpful with that. So if you're just wanting your child to become more independent with bedtime routines, so you don't have to hound them or nag them with every step of the routine, you might consider creating a visual schedule. This one could just be a checklist that they check off at the end of each one. And then you might include some kind of incentive system if you need to. You can refer back to the motivators episode to get some ideas of some things that you might include to have as some kind of reward for them. It might be, you could set up something like points that they earn for each one that they do without having to be asked. That's how many minutes of extra iPad time they get the next day. or how many stories you'll read or songs that you'll sing before they go to bed that night if they need more immediate reinforcement. Again, all of that just depends on your child and where they are at. A couple of other things that you might consider is ways for your child to show that they're done, either for themselves, for reducing anxiety, for you. They might not need to. They might not need to check it off or do anything. They might just want it to refer to, especially if they're using it because of anxiety, and that's fine. They don't have to check it off. But if that is something that would be important or helpful, again, if you're using an app, oftentimes they have a little built-in program so that they can finish up the task, and then there's some immediate visual reinforcement from the iPad or your phone or whatever technology you're using. If you're using more of a physical schedule, again, you can do the Velcro strips. If you would like it to be a little bit more durable, you can either take it to any office supply place and they can laminate whatever you've made for you, or you might consider purchasing your own laminator if this is something that you're going to do a lot. They also sell those at office supply stores, or you can just order one on Amazon, and also those page protect or the lamination sheets. Another system that I used to use was just to put them inside of a page protector. And then you can use either dry erase or wet erase markers that your child can just check things off or cross things off. Or again, just those pieces that those little squares or whatever you use, if you're just using words or pictures and you're using the Velcro system, then you might consider having an envelope or something that they can put those squares in when they're done, or those picture pieces in when they're done, just as, again, a way to show I did it, look what I accomplished. You can build that intrinsic motivation with your child by celebrating as they finish individual tasks, or when they finish their day, or when they finish their whole list, by pointing out those good feelings that they have, by saying, you did it. That was a lot of things to do today, and you did them all. And help them to recognize that they feel happy, or they maybe feel accomplished by having them done. I hope that this was helpful and that it gave you some ideas of ways that you might use a visual schedule with your child if you need to. If there are other topics that you would like to see covered or people that you would like to hear from, I invite you to include that in the comments below. And if this was helpful for you, I invite you to like, share, subscribe for this video, just to help get the word out there for others that this might be beneficial for. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.